what is our identity, what is our role in this material world, what we are supposed to do, how we can get eternal happiness, how we can keep everybody around us happy, how we can achieve success and at the same time achieve happiness. And what will happen after the death? What will happen when I die? Why do bad things happen to the good people? Why do good people suffer on this planet? All these unanswered questions are answered in Bhagavad Gita. And we are trying to explore more and more of Bhagavad Gita every week. Bhagavad Gita is actually a book of yoga, and it has various types of yoga explained, like chapter number 1 to 6 is Karma Yoga, chapter number 7 to 12 is Bhakti Yoga, chapter number 13 to 18 is Jnana Yoga, and there is also information about Ashtanga Yoga also in Bhagavad Gita. So one who performs yoga is called as yogi, and Karma Yoga is Karma Yogi, Bhakti Yoga performer is called Bhakti Yogi, and a Jnana Yoga performer is called as Jnana Yogi. But best among all the yogis is the one who does bhakti. Now you can do bhakti through karma also, you can do bhakti through jnana also, and you can do direct bhakti also. So that is called karma mishra bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti, and shuddha bhakti. So Lord Krishna has explained shuddha bhakti in the middle 6 chapters. But then there is karma mishra bhakti and jnana mishra bhakti also there. So we have learned about this, and briefly revising those names of the chapters. I will not be able to go through each chapter, but first chapter is Arjuna Vishada Yoga, where Arjuna is lamenting. Then second chapter is Sankhya Yoga, where Lord Krishna explains the science of soul, Atma Vidya, about what is soul, what is the quality, what are the qualities of soul, what happens to the soul after the body dies. All these are explained in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Third chapter, Lord Krishna starts explaining karma and karma yoga. Fourth chapter, Lord Krishna explains about akarma. How karma, when we perform karma for the satisfaction of Krishna, then it does not create any results, which is called as akarma. Then Lord Krishna explains in fifth chapter about Nishkam Karma Yoga. So performing karma, but without any expectation of results, dedicating all our results for pleasure of Krishna. Then Lord Krishna in sixth chapter explains about Dhyana Yoga, where he explains about Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, all those Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, all this is very nicely explained. And then at the end of the sixth chapter, what does Lord Krishna say? Yogi nam api sarvesham matagatentra atmana. So among all these yogis, the best yogi is Bhakti Yoga. And then he starts explaining about Bhakti Yoga. So seventh chapter is, it explains about all pervasive nature of Krishna, how Lord Krishna is there in the water, how Krishna is there in the earth, in the sky, in the moon, in the sun, he is there everywhere. So that is called as Jnana Vijnana Yoga of the seventh chapter. Then eighth chapter is remembrance of Krishna at the time of death. How we can remember Krishna always. So when we remember Krishna, what happens? When we remember Krishna, we remember the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And when we remember the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, we are always in Sattva Guna, which is called as Shuddha Sattva Guna. So we can overcome the influence of Rajoguna and Tamoguna by bhakti, by always remembering Krishna and Krishna's teachings and following them. When Lord Krishna explains about Rajaguhya, Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam. So the secret of all the secrets, Lord Krishna explains. And what is the secret of all the secrets? The secret of all the secrets is bhakti, so science of bhakti. So that science of bhakti was explained by Lord Krishna in chapter number 9. Then opulence of Krishna, Vibhuti Yoga. So we learned about more opulences of Krishna, how Krishna is the source of all the Devi Devatas. Surya, Chandra, Indra, Brahma, Shiv, Durga, Parvati, Saraswati, Lakshmi, and all the other Devi Devatas. Everybody is coming from Krishna. Krishna says, Aham Adihi Devanam. I am the source of all the Devi Devatas. And that is explained in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Then 11th chapter, Lord Krishna shows his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna says, hey, Lord Krishna, you talked about it, but I want to see it. So Lord Krishna then shows his universal form to Arjuna by giving him a divya chakshu, divine vision. And then Arjuna could see the thousands of hair, thousands of arms, thousands of mouths, always multiple. And Krishna's body humongous, touching the sky, going beyond the sky. He could see all the demigods within the body of Krishna. So when Arjuna saw that form, and then the fire coming from Krishna's mouth, and then all the people on the Kurukshetra, he saw them rushing into that fire, which means they were dying. So seeing this form, Arjuna got bewildered. And Arjuna said, hey Krishna, I want to see your four-arm form, which is like a Vishnu form, Narayana form. So Arjuna then sees Narayana form. And then Arjuna says, hey Krishna, you showed me the four-arm form. Now I want to see your two-arm form, which is the most beautiful Shyamasundar form. So then Krishna shows his universal form to Arjuna. And Arjuna becomes very happy in seeing that. Then, in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna purely and purely describes bhakti. What are the qualities of bhakta? What are the gunas? How do you identify a bhakta? What are the symptoms? What are the signs? How a bhakta behaves? First of that he said was anasuyava. So bhakta is never envious of anybody. That was one of the qualifications. And he's very humble, kind, compassionate. All those qualities we discussed in detail. Right? And then last week, a week before, we learned about 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So what we learned in 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? So we learned about nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. And what does that include? We learned about field. The body is our field of activity. So this is the body, which is the field where we act as a soul. Our soul is embedded in this body. And this body is gradually changing. And all the activities we perform, the soul performs, or soul undergoes through this body. Right? And then we learned about Kshetragna, knower of the field. And who is the Kshetragna? Atma and Paramatma. So soul and super soul both are Kshetragnas. Right? And then in last session, we learned about three modes of nature, and which we just revised it. What are the three modes of nature? Sattva guna, Rajo guna, and Tamo guna. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So guna means rope. We are all bound by this rope. Nobody is free. Sometimes people say, I am free man. But nobody is free. Everybody is under control. And what are we control under? So we are under the control of these three gunas. Sattvam, Rajas, Tamam iti guna prakriti sambhava. So Sattva guna, Raja guna, and Tamo guna. You can see in this picture, these three personalities, they are controlling the human being like the puppets being controlled with the strings. And we all are being controlled by these gunas. So what is this? Sattva guna. When we are controlled by Sattva guna, then what happens? As we discussed, we like to learn more knowledge. We want to be free from sinful activities. And we feel that we are doing something better than others. Right? When we are in Raja guna, we have a lot of passion. We have unlimited desires, and we want honor, prestige, greed. All these are symptoms of Raja guna. And when we are in Tamo guna, we are mad, we are lazy, we do not want to get any knowledge. People nowadays are very lazy. They like People don't enjoy good things also in their life. If you tell them that let's go to Bhagavad Gita class, they'll say, no, 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 I'm too busy. I do not want to come. Or some people say, no, I don't enjoy spiritual things, or I don't want to come there. Okay, that's fine. Then what is your plan of action? Are you going to go some work? Are you doing some creative things? No, 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 I'm very tired. So they are not enthusiastic about material activities. And if you tell them, okay, tomorrow, Monday, you have to go to work, oh, people say, oh my God, when will the Friday come? Why? Because people don't enjoy the material activities and people don't enjoy even the spiritual activities. They are just dragging their lives. Is that true or false? Just type yes or no in your chat box. You think people have this? People say, oh, when will the Friday come? And then the Friday, oh, now I don't want to go to work. So most of the time, people don't enjoy their material activities and people do not enjoy the spiritual activities. So I do not know what they are enjoying then because they are then being in the tamoguna, which is laziness. Laziness means that they just want to sit or watch some videos and do nothing. So that is purely tamoguna. So then Lord Krishna says that there is continuous competition between these three gunas. Sometimes we are in Rajoguna, sometimes in Tamoguna, sometimes with your Rajo with Sattva mixed, like that. But pure Sattva Guna is very difficult to achieve. Now imagine we are always in Sattva Guna, then what will happen? We'll feel so blissful, so full of knowledge, we'll so happy from inside and outside. But unfortunately, we do not know how to be always situated in Sattva Guna. And the answer to that is through bhakti. Only through bhakti, through following the teachings of Lord Krishna and looking upon all the people around us as part and parcel of Krishna, all the living entities around us as a part and parcel of Krishna, we can be situated in Sattva Guna. Otherwise, we'll be always running around between Rajaguna and Tamaguna. Now, Lord Krishna further explains, we are entering into the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita now. Do you have any questions as of now, what we discussed? If not, then we'll go for the next chapter. Anybody has any questions? I'll wait for 2 more seconds, and if not, then we'll proceed further. If you have any questions, then ask me, and if not, then let's go ahead. I don't see any questions coming, all good. So we will go with the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called as the Yoga of Supreme Person, also called as Purushottam Yoga. This is a very important chapter of Bhagavad Gita because in this chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains about the nature and the creation of the material world, how the spiritual world looks like, and what is the role of Atma and Paramatma, what is the position of Atma and Paramatma in the material world and the spiritual world. Now, suppose Krishna asked this question to Arjuna. Arjuna asked this question to Lord Krishna that, hey, Lord Krishna, you have explained me about Bhakti Yoga, and then you have explained me about all the karma also, karma yoga. You have explained me about three modes of material nature. You have explained me about field and the activity of field. And then you also said that one who remembers me at the time of death goes to your spiritual world. So Arjuna may ask this question, but Krishna, please tell me what is the spiritual world looks like? What is the difference between the spiritual world and the material world? And why we are taking birth in this material world? If we all belong to spiritual world, then why we all have come into this material world? So all these questions are answered by Lord Krishna in this 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So as I said, there are three principles, 3 points explained: material world, spiritual world, and the position of Atma and Paramatma. So let's understand this one basic concept here. that what is material and what is spiritual. Do you all want to participate in this? Please type it in your chat box. What do you understand by material and what do you understand by spiritual? Whatever, just maybe one sentence, two sentences, you can type it in your chat box. Huh? Just type one line. What do you understand by material and what do you understand by spiritual? Because this is the basis of our understanding. Uh, uh, so here I see that feedback coming from Motiji. He says like Sattva Guna and Raja Guna. Okay. Anybody else? In the physical form is material. Okay. Anybody else wants to participate in this question answer thing? What is material and what is spiritual? Uh, so we have two existences. Our life is made up of material and spiritual. What is material about life? Material is our body and spiritual is Atma. Right? I see one more input here. Uh, Material is out of greed. Okay. So let's understand basic things now. Material is this body. Why this body is material? Because it has expiry date. It is going to die. It is going to get destroyed one day. So material is anything which has beginning and end, which has one point of beginning and one point of end. That is called as material. So all the material things, they deteriorate slowly and steadily. That is material. Material is not permanent, it is temporary. It has a date on which it is supposed to be discarded. It is expiring. Okay. While spiritual, our Atma is spiritual. So what is spiritual means? Spiritual means exactly opposite of material. So what did I say just now? Material is temporary. So spiritual is permanent. So our Atma is permanent, our body is temporary. Then another point I mentioned is material has beginning and end, while the spirit or spiritual has no beginning and no end. So what is beginning? It has no birth and no death. So our spirit, our soul has no beginning and no end. Our soul is eternal, right? So now this material world, what do we understand by material world? So we are into this material world, which is called as this earth, and then beyond the earth there is other planet like sun, moon, and so many other planets, and then there are various galaxies, right? So all these are material, means all the planetary system, everything around us has expiry date. But there is a world beyond this material world. So beyond this material galaxies, planets, sun, moon, and all those, there is another world which is called as spiritual world. And that is what Lord Krishna is going to explain us today about spiritual world. If you remember, last week I explained you this picture here, or the week before, where this is the material world. This is the whole is material world actually. This whole is material world, and then there is a. This is also material part of the material world, and then there is on the top, very top, is the spiritual world. So now let's understand the spiritual world. So Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna in 15th chapter, first shloka, he says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhva Moolam Madham Shakha Ashwatham Prahur Avyayam Chandanasmi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavid. So here Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna, when Arjuna asks this question, say Arjuna asks this question, hey Krishna, can you please tell me what is this material and what is the spiritual world and how does it look like? Can you please tell me a little bit more about it? So Lord Krishna says, hey Arjun, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upwards and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of Vedas. So a little bit difficult, but we are going to make it easy. Do not worry. Ma Suchara. Right? Ma Sucha means no worries at all. We are going to solve these questions. This is the important shloka of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is explaining about the material world and the spiritual world. So if you see in the previous shloka, Lord Krishna had said, what did he say? Urdhva moolam ada shakha. So there is an imperishable banyan tree. So what is a banyan tree? Banyan tree is very auspicious, holy tree. Many people in India worship banyan tree actually. So Lord Krishna is saying this is banyan tree here. Now this banyan tree is by the river. There's a water here. And in the water you can see the reflection of the tree. And what does the reflection look like? The reflection of a banyan tree is exactly opposite. So what is here? The roots are up and the branches are down, right? Usually the tree has a root at down and the branches up and the leaves and everything is up. But the reflection looks exactly opposite of it. Do you all understand this picture? First of all, let me ask you this question. Just type yes or no. Because this picture is the basis of understanding a 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Do you all understanding this picture? It is just like a tree, banyan tree, reflection in the water. So there is water, the tree, and its reflection. Exactly reverse reflection. So reflection has roots up and the branches down. I don't see any response from everybody, anyone. So please, if you can, type yes in your chat box. Are you all happy with this picture? Do you understand this picture? Because this is the understanding of 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is Urdhamula Madha Shakha. So I don't see any response from anyone. So it looks like my sound is not reaching up to you guys. Okay, Motiji is saying that please repeat. Okay, Motiji, this is the tree here. Okay, this is a tree here, and then there is a tree in the reflection. What is the difference between this tree and this tree? This is the original tree, and this is the reflection of the tree. Okay, so this is the original tree, and this is the reflection of the tree. What is the difference? The original tree is original, which has roots down and the branches up, and the reflection has roots up and the branches down. Reflection is exactly opposite of original. Can you all understand now, Motiji, Aparna-ji, you can understand it clearly? Oh, I don't see any response from them. Okay, Aparna-ji says yes. Chinmay-ji, could you understand? Dharmendra-ji could understand. Okay, Nilesh-ji, Mausmi-ji, everybody's on board here. Because if you don't understand this, then the whole thing will be zero. Okay, Chinmay is saying that picture is clear, what it means is not clear. Okay, I am going to explain you further. I want you to understand the picture now first. Okay, so what Lord Krishna here is trying to say is that the difference between the spiritual world and the material world. Now, there is called a spiritual world where Adhyatmik Jagat, where the Lord Krishna and his all devotees are residing. And the reflection of that is the material world. Now, the difference between the spiritual world and the material world is that the spiritual world is the original, while the material world is not. It is just a reflection. So, whatever we see in the material world is just the replica or reflection, but inverted. Inverted means not the real stuff. Huh? So, in the material world, what we call love is actually a lust. This is I'm explaining with a simple example that what you call in material world is love is lust. So what is the difference between love and lust? So love is service and affection without any self motivation. So you serve somebody, you're attached to somebody, but there is no self motivation. So that is love. But in the material world, we are saying love is actually a lust. When a boy and a girl say, I love you, actually, more than love, there is lust attached. Husband and wife, they say, I love you, and then after a few years, they get a divorce. And when they get a divorce, they hate each other. They do not want to see each other. So, this is what is a perverted reflection. So, spiritual world is pure. Why it is pure? Because whatever you do in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual sense, it is with the attitude of service and love. While whatever we see in the material world is temporary and it is involved with selfishness. Okay? So, uh, in this material world, there are various branches here. So what is Krishna saying? That this material world, even though it appears true, it is actually a perverted reflection. It is not true world. This is called as Maya. Maya means what? Maya means an illusion. So have you all traveled to, say, desert? And in the desert you see a mirage. What is mirage? Mirage is the reflection of sun rays in the desert, and it appears like water, but there is no water there. So what is that water? Water is there, really water exists, but what you see in the desert is not water. Similarly, what we all are doing in our life is we are looking for happiness. And how are we trying to find happiness? We trying to find happiness through the material senses. Everybody is looking for happiness. Actually, everybody wants to be happy in the material world. Everybody is looking for happiness, and somebody finds happiness by eating. Like say, if I eat pizza, I will feel happy. If I eat gulab jamun or samosa, I will feel happy. However, the happiness of eating is not long lasting. So you can't enjoy that pizza or gulab jamun forever. After eating one pizza, maybe two, you'll get fed up. Hey, you don't want to eat any more pizza. If you have gulab jamun, you eat one or two is good. If you have 50 or 100 gulab jamun, you say, no, I don't want to eat anymore. Why? Because it is material happiness. We derive happiness by ears, we derive happiness by mouth, by eyes, by skin. So we try to be happy by the material sense gratification. And that is material happiness. And so what is the quality of material happiness? It is temporary. And it is sometimes not even giving you happiness in the long term. So what do I mean by that? So suppose you enjoy eating pizza. But then if you eat too many pizzas, then you have a lot of cholesterol deposited in your blood vessels, and then you get heart attack one day. Or if you eat too much gulab jamun, too much sweet, you might get diabetes, obesity, hypertension. So what you thought was happiness was actually the source of misery. You all agree with this? So, material world, what appears to be happiness is actually a misery. For example, another example, suppose you love someone, you love your child, your husband, or father, or mother, or your friend, you're too much attached to them, and those people whom you love, they do something which is against your wish. Children do not obey you, or they do something wrong, or husband cheats wife, like that. This all things are happening in the material world. So the person to whom you are attached, material, that same person becomes the source of your misery. And then you say, oh my God, why did I love this person so much? Now, that same person is giving me the misery. So, Nilesh has a point. Can we say that anything in excess turns out to be misery? Absolutely, Nilesh. Anything in excess can turn out to be misery, but anything with the material desires is always a sense of source of misery. So, if you are too much attached to, say, money, then that money becomes your source of misery because then you are day and night you're worried about money. Everything in the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world, but it is not real. It is just a replica. And replica means not real. It is the source of problems. So if you look in the desert water and you go and grab the water, but there is no water there, it's a mirage, then you'll feel frustrated. So that is why people, they never become happy. They always are looking for happiness, one to one to one to one. But the happiness is not outside actually. Happiness is in the spiritual thing, it is inside. And that is what Krishna is explaining us in this 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That if you are trying to find happiness in this material world, then this material world is full of miseries. It is called Dukkhalayam. Dukkhalayam means there are problems in this material world. What are the problems? So one is Adidaivik, Adibhautik, and Adhyatmik. So Adidaivik means the problems created by material nature. So there is a hurricane, there is a fire, there is a snowstorm, there is an earthquake. All these are problems. Then Adibhautik, problems created by other living beings like your neighbor, your father, or your son, or your wife, or your friends. They create problems for you. Or if not, then one country attacks another country. And if nothing is there, then germs and bacteria and virus. Now we have coronavirus. Then after a few years, new virus will come. Last few years, there was another virus, SARS and all different types of viruses. Right? So now we have this COVID-19, and then there are different types of viruses. More viruses will come probably in the future. So there are problems by people, problems by the environment, problems by other living nature, and then there is a problem by the mind. Adibhautik, Adidevik, and Adhyatmik. Adhyatmik means mental problems, stress. So all these problems are always there. So no matter how hard we try in this material world, we can never be happy. But we can be happy only and only if we try to find happiness in the spiritual things, not in the material things. So further, Krishna explains to Arjuna that this material world, this material tree, which is the reflection, and I forgot to explain one more thing. So there is a spiritual world in the Krishna Loka, and this material world is replica but upside down, and this has the roots where Brahmadi is there. And then uh, all these branches are what? These branches are the different elements, the Vedas, then economic development, then religiosity, then sense gratification. So it is called dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. These are all reflections, but real thing is Krishna Prema, which is original image, but it gets reflected as dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So this is a banyan tree. And then what is this? Water. The water is nothing but the desire. So originally, we all belong to the spiritual world. We were all in the spiritual world as Atma. But we wanted to have a desire. We had a desire that we want to be the master. We want to be the enjoyers. We want to be the owners. So then Lord Krishna said, oh, okay, if you want to be the enjoyer, because in the spiritual world, everybody is serving. Nobody is the master in the spiritual world. Everybody is serving Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate master in the spiritual world. But then some of the Jivatma, they said, we want to be the enjoyers. So Krishna says, okay, if you want to be enjoyer, then I will create another world for you, which is material world. So this is the material world which has a lot of branches, and we all are trapped in these branches, which is like a net. We are trapped in this net. And some of them are after the economic development, some of them are after the religiosity. So Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, all this, they are fighting with each other. Somebody say, I am higher than you, I am higher than you, like that. So we are trapped. People are trapped in the religiosity. Some people are trapped in sense gratification. Some people want to enjoy. So they want to have sense enjoyment. And then some people are after liberation, but they do not know which branch they should take so that get liberated. And then some people are trapped in Devi Devta worship. Some people worship this Devi, this Devta, but then nobody can get out of this entanglement of this material world. This is a very complicated network. And this is the network created by Lord Krishna because we wanted to be the enjoyer of this material world. So we belong to spiritual world, and then we come to material world, we want to enjoy. So Krishna gives us this body. So we get this body of a human, some people get a body of animal, some people get body of insect. So this Atma, when it travels from spiritual world to material world, it gets this body. Why this gets the body? Because it has desire to enjoy, desire to become the master, desire to become the owner, desire to get respected, desire to get worshipped. In the spiritual world, we were worshipping Krishna, but in the material world, we want to be worshipped. We do not want to worship anybody else. Right? So this is that Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna. Now there is this water here. And Lord Krishna further explains that Guna Pravradha Vishaya Pravlaha. So now this tree is nourished by the water. And this water has these qualities. What is this? 3 modes of material nature. So which is what we learned in the previous verse, previous chapter. Sattva Guna, Raja Guna, and Tama Guna. So as long as we are in this Sattva Guna, Raja Guna, and Tama Guna, we are nourishing this tree. So this tree will keep on growing, and then sense objects are the branches of this Vishaya Pravalaha. So Vishaya means, the Pravala means branches, and Vishaya means sense objects. So we are trapped in this material world because of the sense objects and 3 modes of material nature. Right? So as long as we have a desire to enjoy, we are always going to get trapped in this material world. We cannot come out of this material world. Only way we can come out of this material world is desire to serve Krishna. That is the only way we can come out of this. Right? So now, just to summarize this sloka, the branches of this tree extend downwards and upwards, and it is nourished by the 3 modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses, and this tree has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Right? Now I'm going to simplify this for all of you. Okay. Now, here is the tree. This is the tree here. On the top is Lord Vishnu. Then there is Brahma, and there are inverted branches. Okay. So now the ground of this tree, root of this tree, desire. Right? Desire is the main thing which binds us to the tree. Then second is the main root is in the Brahma Loka, the total material substance. Then there is the root downwards in the human planetary system in the form of attachment and aversions, producing byproducts of suffering and enjoyment. From these roots develop the tendency to piety and impiety. So this is all from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter. So there are roots which are binding us, and what are these roots? Attachment. Attachment means desire to enjoy, desire to be respected, desire to have a lot of material wealth. All these are attachments, which keeps us binded. And then fourth is the branches, our material bondage. The branches of this tree, there are a lot of branches here. You can see that all these are branches of this tree. So this is the root, and then this is the perverted reflection of the tree, and there are branches. Right? So these are our material bondages. And then next one is the leaves of this tree. Here you can see all these are leaves. And what are these leaves? The Vedas. Vedas are also like none of the Vedas. If you are Parangat, if you are a scholar of all the Vedas, but the Vedas, where do they lead to? They lead to Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. But moksha does not mean going to the Lord Krishna Loka. Wherever you go, you will come back. But unless you go to spiritual world, Adhyatmic Jagat, you will not be from where you don't come back. Then the twigs are the sense objects, the little bit branches, small twigs. And then the tips of the branches are the senses, and the fruits are the Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So further, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, na rupam ashaya tatho upalabhyate. What is that? Na rupam asya iha tatho upalabhyate. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this material world. So this is the spiritual world, and we cannot reach to the spiritual world because there are too complicated network of branches. No one can understand where it ends and where it begins and where its foundation is. So this tree is very complicated. But Krishna is saying that how to get out of this tree. We are all trapped in this material world. How do we get out of this tree? So Lord Krishna says, Asanga shastrena dradena chitva. What is this? Asanga means by detachment. Ashanga shastrena. Shastra means weapon. So through the weapon of detachment and determination. So detachment, determination, and surrender. So if we have a detachment, if we are surrendered, and if you have a determination that we want to get out of this material world, we do not want to stay here in this material forever. Every time we get birth, then we get disease, then old age and death, and we are trapped in this. So Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna that, hey Arjun, you are trapped in this material world here. But what I'm saying is that you get out of this material world. And how do you get out of this? So you get out through this material world by detachment. Asanga. Asanga means, what is detachment means? Detachment means that detachment from the desire to be the enjoyer, desire to be the master. So what is the opposite of detachment? Is attachment. So not to be attached for the sense enjoyment. So what does that mean? That we will use all the facilities we have for the service of Krishna. So if you have little money, use it for service of Krishna, use it for service of welfare of others. If you have a desire to enjoy, then enjoy serving Krishna. That is detachment. Detachment does not mean that giving up everything and going to the forest. Detachment means whatever we have, using it for service of Krishna. So you have little knowledge, use it for service of Krishna. If you have money, use it for service of welfare of others, thinking that this money is given to me by Krishna. That is called attachment, detachment. Uh, Using the same money for your own sense gratification is attachment, and using it for service of Krishna is detachment. Suppose you want to eat food, you eat the food, you enjoy eating. Okay, why don't we do this? That make the food, offer the food to Krishna, make it prasadam, and then eat. That is detachment. Actually, there is two things. One is attached, one is detached, and there is another thing in between. It's called unattached. Unattached means I have money, I'm using it for service of Krishna. I have this body, I'm using it for service of Krishna. I have intelligence, I'm using it for service of Krishna. I have family, I'm engaging my family in service of Krishna. So, in this way, detachment becomes easier. Detachment is not easy if you artificially give up. But, friends, one thing is that if you don't give up, then at the time of death, everything will be taken away from you. So instead of somebody forcefully taking away from you, why don't we give from now onwards? If you are making $10, okay, let's give $1 to somebody who needs it. Let's be kind, let's be generous. That is what Krishna is telling here, that with detachment, determination. Without determination, nothing will happen in your life. If you think that everything will happen automatically, that's not possible. We have to be determined. Excuse me. So we have to be determined. We have to be that I want to get out of this material world. I want to get out of this attachment of this material world. Whatever happens, I do not want to meditating upon material things at the time of death. I want to meditate upon Krishna when I die. So that is, and then dradena chitva, with the surrender. So we want to be detached, we want to be determined, and we want to surrender ourselves for service of Krishna. Further, Lord Krishna explains in 15th chapter 4 sloka, thereafter one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns. So once we are detached, once we are determined and we are surrendered to Krishna, then we go to the spiritual world here. And then once we are in the spiritual world, we are no more entangled in this network. And there is very nice thing there is pure bliss. What is pure bliss means? That when we are in, after this body, giving up this material body, if we are completely surrendered to Krishna and in the mood of detachment, then our Atma is carried forward to the spiritual world. We cannot go there with this material body. We need a spiritual body. Like if you want to go to moon, you cannot go to moon with this body. You need a special suit, special clothing. Then only you can go to moon. If you want to go to space, you can't go to space with this body. You need to have a space suit. Similarly, if you want to go to Krishna Loka, spiritual world, then you need spiritual body. And that is what Krishna says here, that if you are spending a life in the mood of detachment, determination, and bhakti, then you will go there where they are surrendered to Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from everything has extended since time in the world. So when we go to Krishna Loka, everything is coming from Krishna. So you stay there forever. Now, somebody may ask, okay, you said about surrender, but what is this surrender? What are the person, who can surrender to Krishna? Is there any quality required to surrender to Krishna? So, yeah, Krishna says, yes. What are the qualities required for surrender? So, chapter 15, fifth sloka, Krishna says, Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinirvatta kama dvandir vimukta sukha dukkha samayagne gachanti amudha padam avyayam tat. So what is Lord Krishna saying here? That those who are free from false prestige, illusion, false association, who understand eternal, who are done with the material lust, who are free from dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, can attain that kingdom. So, little bit complicated shloka, so we are going to understand this in detail. So, let's understand this one by one. So, who can surrender to Krishna? So, first he says Nirmana. Nirmana means free from false prestige or pride. So most of the time people are puffed up. What is the puffed up means? They think that okay, we are great. Uh, I should be. I'm very scholar. I'm very rich. I'm very knowledgeable. This is called as pride. But this is a false pride. Why? Because uh, you might think that you are very knowledgeable or very rich, but there is somebody higher than you. And who is that? Krishna. Krishna, whatever the Aishwarya Krishna has, you cannot achieve that Aishwarya. And secondly, when person thinks that he is great, he is actually thinking himself as a Sharira, body. But we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. So how do we get free from the false prestige or pride? So always thinking that I am spirit soul, I am not this body. This body is the covering given to me for some time. But after the some time, this body will die. Then what? This money is not going to stay with me forever. This buildings and this properties is not going to stay with me forever. So I'm a spirit soul. What will stay with me forever? The connection of Atma and Paramatma. Now, when Atma and Paramatma are connected, that connection will stay with me forever. So when we are Krishna conscious, when we are conscious about our real identity, then we think, oh, even though I might have $1 million now, when I die, this money has no value. So why should I be so much proud of my money? I might be doctor, I might have 2 PhDs, but when I dead, what is the value of this degree? It is of no use. So why should I be proud or arrogant about my knowledge or my titles? Like that. So that is called nirmana. So when one is free from this false prestige, then only he can surrender to God, Krishna. With ego, you cannot surrender to Krishna. Some people have big ego. I am so great, I am such a powerful person. Then you cannot surrender. Surrender requires humility, humbleness. So that is the first quality of a person who wants to surrender. What is the second quality? Freedom from illusion. Uh, Nirmoha. Nirmana, nirmoha. What is the illusion of everybody? Illusion is that everything around us is true. We feel like this material world, everything is true. My family, my friends, this is all illusion, friends. You might think that everything is true around you, but ultimately it is not true because everything is going to get finished in a second, right? In a second, as soon as this heart stops working, everything around you gets over. We work morning to evening very hard. Everybody goes to work and does so much computer work and so much, so much, so much, so much. And then I have achieved something great today. But next day he gets a heart attack. Finished, everything is done. So human form of life, which he got for self-realization, that what is my nature? Why am I given this human birth and not animal birth? What is the value of human life? How can I help others? How can I serve others? How can I bring everybody on the spiritual platform? That's an opportunity. But instead of that, morning to evening, until we go to bed, we are spending all our time behind material things, money, mm, and eating, sleeping, mating, all those things. So that is an illusion. It does not give you happiness. It gives you distress. So that is called nirmana. nirmoha. So when one is fed up, when one is saying, okay, this material world, there is no real happiness. Real happiness is inside. Out, it is nothing outside. So then one starts in getting interest in the devotional service, bhakti, in the spiritual life. Right? Then what is the third quality of surrender? Jita Sangha dosha. Ah, Jita Sangha dosha means freedom from false association. What is false association? False association means too much attachment to anything with the body or related to the body. That's a false association, right? False means which is not true. If you go in the desert, you see a mirage. Mirage is not true. That is false, actually. So we might think this is my father, this is my mother, this is my family. But as soon as you are dead, you get new father, new children, new family. And then another death, and the new father, new family, new children. So long as you are attached to this false thing, you cannot be attached to the true thing. If somebody is too much attached to addiction, I mean, he cannot enjoy uh, the normal things of the life. He is addicted to the drugs and alcohol and smoking and all those things. For them, the sattvic enjoyment is of no use. Right? But what you and me enjoy now reading Bhagavad Gita, those people who are drug addicted, they may not be enjoying this. Right? This is the association. Sangha ka asar. Huh? Jaisa sang, vaisa rang. So if you associate with false, you'll get false impression of your life. So if you're too much attached to the material things, then you cannot surrender. Then what is the next quality? Adhyatma Nitya. What does Adhyatma Nitya means? One should have desire to develop spiritual knowledge. Huh? Unless and until one has a desire to develop spiritual knowledge, one cannot surrender. One should have a desire. I want to learn Bhagavad Gita. I want to definitely progress in my spiritual life. And then I will read Bhagavad Gita chapter every single day. And then I'll ask questions about it. If you do not have determination of the Adhyatma Nitya, then you cannot progress in the spiritual life. The next quality for surrender is Vinivritta Kamaha. What is Vinivritta Kama means? Done with the material lust and always remains unbewildered. Material lust means no more hankering for like greedy nature. And whether he gets happiness or distress, failure or success, it doesn't matter. I am doing it for service of Krishna, and Krishna will be happy with me, so I'm doing it. Whether I 10 people follow or 15 people follow or 100 people follow, it doesn't matter to me. I am here to recite Bhagavad Gita for the pleasure of Krishna. Actually, friends, when we are learning this Bhagavad Gita, actually there is Krishna within your heart. So what I'm doing, through this Bhagavad Gita, I'm serving Krishna within your heart. So ultimately, the purpose of this Bhagavad Gita lesson is to please Krishna, nothing else. So whether one person comes or 100% come. Actually, Australia, 63 people registered for this Bhagavad Gita class. And then sometimes you get 10, 15, 20, like that. So some people don't come, some people come sometimes. That's okay. What is the purpose of this Bhagavad Gita? We want to serve Krishna. So whether 10 people get benefit or 100 people get benefit, our idea is to serve. And service is, so my success criteria will not be number of people. My success criteria will be how much I can serve Krishna, and that is the success criteria. Right? So vinirvrata kamaha, done with the material desires. Then what is the next one? Freedom from dualities. Dvander vimukta sukha dukkha samkner. So whether good, bad, happiness, distress, all is equal. Nothing matters because everything is for service of Krishna, and that is the Uh, these are the qualities for surrender. So if we have one of these qualities also, we are on the good right path. But if we do not surrender to Krishna, then nothing will happen in this life. Then we'll remain trapped in this material world. This tree will remain trapped. But if you decide that you want to go to spiritual world, then what is the characteristics of the spiritual world? So Adhyatmic Jagat, how does it look like? So that is what Krishna explains in next shloka, in 6th shloka of 15th chapter. So Krishna says, Na tad bhashyate surya, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gatva na nivartante, tad dhama paramam mamaha. So what is that Lord Krishna saying? That this spiritual world where Lord Krishna is residing, tadadhama paramam mama. Mama means mine. So whose mine? Mine means Krishna's dhama. So how is Krishna dham looking like? So Krishna is saying that if you come to my world, then it is not illuminated by sun or moon nor by fire or electricity. Uh, So in the spiritual world, everything is self-illuminous. There is no need of external light. We need light, but in the spiritual world, the personalities themselves, the body is, if there is effulgence of light from their body. Everything in the spiritual world is self-illuminating. So that is what Lord Krishna is saying, that spiritual world is not illuminated by material things. What are the material? Sun, moon, fire, electricity. There is no need of material things there. Those who reach there will never return to this material world. Paramam mamaha. This is a very important word. Where param means the highest, supreme. The dham of Krishna is the supreme, and if we go there, we will never ever return to the material world. Right? Now, what is the relationship of the spiritual and the material? So Lord Krishna is saying, Mamevansho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana manashansthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. So 7th shloka, Lord Krishna is saying, hey Arjun, all these living entities, they are my eternal fragmental parts. Mame vansha, mame eva ansha, mame eva ansha jiva loke. Mame eva ansha jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. Sanatana means eternal. So we all jiva are always part and parcel of Krishna. We are fragments of Krishna. Mame vansha, mame eva ansha jiva loke. So we are ansha. Ansha means small part. So we are part and parcel of Krishna, very small part of Krishna. However, due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include mind. So we were all in the spiritual world, but then we came to material world, and then we have this conditioned life, material life, and we are struggling very hard. And what are we struggling with? So senses, sense enjoyment, we are also struggling with the mind. So in this way, our struggle continues. And what happens when your struggle continues? So Lord Krishna says, 15th chapter 8 shloka, the living entity in the material world carries his different conception of life from one body to another, as the air carries aroma. Vayuru gandham ivashyat. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another kind of body. So here Lord Krishna is saying that because we are all struggling with this body, we are all attached to this body. So then we can keep on taking different bodies, different birth. And then what happens? Why do we carry this body, or why do we get different bodies? Because here is the example. Vayuru gandha ivashya. Actually, our consciousness is just like air. What does the air do? Air carries aroma. from one place to another. So if the air which is traveling over the flowers, then the air will carry the aroma of flowers. And if the same air is passing over a garbage bin, then it will carry the aroma of garbage. Similarly, mind, if it is engaged in service of Krishna, then that mind will carry the aroma of Krishna consciousness into the next life. But if this mind is engaged in material sense enjoyment, then the mind will carry aroma of material qualities to the next life. So if we are engaged in service of Krishna, then next life will be involved in service of Krishna, whether in this material world or spiritual world, that is different. But that life will be always of bhakti. But if in this life we are enjoying in bhakti, material, more money, more name, fame, respect, more we are engaged, we are trapping ourselves more and more and more. So I will pause here for a few seconds and see if anybody has any questions here. Does anybody have any questions? This chapter is very important and it is a little deep, but it is very important. I see there is a question here. Could you repeat the shloka number? Could you second shloka by Premji? Premji is asking what is the second shloka mean? Okay, here. Oh, here. Not this one. Okay, here. Guna pravada Vishaya Pravalaha. So our material existence is nourished by, nourished means like water is nourished, a tree is nourished by the water. So more water, the tree will grow more and more. And what is that water? So that water which is forcing us to stay in this material world is the three modes of nature, Sattva Guna, Raja Guna and Tama Guna. They keep us bounded in this material world, and then the sense enjoyment. So long as we are bound to this sense enjoyment and the three modes of nature, we will be trapped in this material world, and we will keep on getting birth after birth after birth. Like aroma, which carries the air, which carries the aroma. So similarly, the consciousness is carried forward from one body to another body. So if we are engaged in Krishna Bhakti, our next life consciousness will be Krishna Bhakti. If we are engaged in material sense enjoyment, then our next life will be full of material sense enjoyment. So in this way, we are getting trapped in this material world. So with that, we'll proceed further to the next shloka. So then change of the body. How does Lord Krishna explains? In the 15th chapter, 10th sloka, Lord Krishna says, Vimudana pashyanti gnana chakshusha. So Lord Krishna says, Vimuda means those foolish people, those who do not have the knowledge. So the foolish cannot understand how the living entity can quit this body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of modes of material nature. But one whose eyes are trained in the knowledge can see all this. So this is the 15th chapter, 10th shloka. What it says, that with the knowledge, we can understand that, oh, we are getting trapped in this material world and I should get out of this. I should get out of the three modes of material nature, and I should get out of the desire to enjoy this material world. So then I will be able to serve Krishna. But if you do not have knowledge, and then we need Gnana Chakshu. Gnana Chakshu means with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a Gnana Chakshu. If we have a knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, then we know that we are getting trapped in this material world. And then we will get out of this material world if we have a Gnana Chakshu. Further, Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, 12th shloka, he says, the splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire also from me. So here, again, Lord Krishna is explaining about his opulence to Arjuna, because Lord Krishna tries to explain to all of us that the spiritual world is nothing but Krishna himself. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. Tato tejo vidhi mamakam. However, all material world is also part and parcel of Krishna. Everything is part and parcel of Krishna, and everything is coming from Krishna. And Lord Krishna wants us to go back to him. Krishna doesn't want us to stay here forever, and that is why he is explaining this science of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. He's saying that, hey Krishna, hey Arjun, please get out of this trap of repeated birth and death, and come out of this repeated birth and death, and come to the spiritual world where I'm waiting for you to. Parents always want to help children, but sometimes children don't want to take help of their parents. Do you have this experience? Any of you have this experience? I have this experience. How do you all agree that sometimes you want to help our children, but children doesn't want to listen to you? You agree with that? Aparna ji is saying yes. Dharmendra ji is saying yes. Thank you, Dharmendra ji. So Moti ji also has the same experience. We all are on the same board then. The Lord Krishna is saying, Vibuddha nanu pashyanti gnani chakshusha. But some children, Apadaji is saying, they are at the age where they think that they know better. So to them, Lord Krishna used this word, Vibuddha. Vibuddha means they are not knowledgeable, but they think that they know. So people, here Lord Krishna is trying to explain us that, dear friends, please come out of this cycle of birth and death. Just give up this attachment. What did he say? He said to us that with a detachment, determination and surrender, you surrender to me. Sarva dharman parijyate mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma sucha. Krishna is saying, come, surrender to me, get out of this banyan tree, get out of this trap. You are suffering here in this material world. Because of your unlimited desires, you are trapped in this network of the trees. Sometimes you think you want to do dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but you cannot get out of this unless and until you surrender to me. You know Devi Devta can get you out of this because they are also trapped in this tree. All the Devi Devtas are also part of this. Brahmaji cannot take you out of this tree. We had an example that if you are in a jail, the jailer cannot take you out of the jail. Government has to release you from the jail, or president has to release you from the jail, or prime minister has to talk to somebody and help you out with that. Otherwise, you cannot come out of the jail. Similarly, all these Devi Devtas, they are into this material world. They are also like you and me. All the Devi Devtas are Jivatmas. They have been given a special position. When a Jivatma does a special work, he is promoted. And so you and me also can become Devi Devta in our next life, if we are. But still, if we become Brahma also is a Jiva. Brahma also has an expiry date. What is the expiry date of Brahma? We talked about this one time. That if you take 1,000 cycles of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga, that becomes one day of Brahmaji. And then 1,000 cycles of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga becomes one night of Brahmaji. And such 100 years Brahmaji lives, but Brahmaji also has an expiry date. Similarly, all the Devi Devtas, they are in this material world. They are in all this material world, where Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu is in the spiritual world. So if you really want to go to the spiritual world, then only Krishna or Vishnu Tattva can take you. Devi Devtas cannot take you there. Right? So, as long as we are trapped in this religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, liberation, we will always be getting repeated birth and death. Punarapi Janma, Punarapi Marna. But if we listen to the parent, who is your parent? Krishna. Krishna is saying, hey Arjun, listen to me. I am telling you, I am the father of everything. If you give up this and just surrender to me, you will come to me. What is further Krishna saying? Further Krishna is saying, I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in the orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all the vegetables. He's saying, Ushnami cha aushadhi sarva somo bhutva rashatmika. So what is Lord Krishna is saying that Pushnami means nourishing. Cha aushadhi sarva. So Krishna is saying, I am nourishing these vegetables, plants, everything, and I am also nourishing all the vegetables. Everything is coming from me. Somo bhutva rasatmaka, and then Soma means Chandra. So Chandra is getting energy from Krishna, and then Moon is giving like special juice or special test of vegetables comes when the vegetables are exposed to the moon. So that's why the vegetables which are grown in farm, natural farming, they are more sweet. Why? Because they are exposed to the moonlight. But the vegetables which are grown in greenhouses, they are not tasty. Have you all got experience? If you go to village, आप जब भारत में जाते हैं तो गांव की सब्जी और शहर की सब्जी में फर्क रहता है. अभी जैसे if you are in America or Australia, then vegetables are not as tasty as the village. Do you all agree with this? You'll agree that vegetables in the village are more tasty. And why is that so? Because here Lord Krishna is saying, Soma Bhutva Rashatmaka. This Soma means the moon. Moon supply the juice of life to all the vegetables. Moon brings that special test. And further Krishna says, Aham Vaishvaranaha Bhutva Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all the living entities. Aham means I. Vaishvanaro means Krishna's expansion. Bhutva means living entity. And further he says, Prana Apana Samayukta Pachami Annam Chaturvidham. So fire and life, air as Krishna's energy help in the digestion of food. So Krishna is saying, I am the fire in your belly. I am the air. Prana Apana. Prana means outgoing air. Apana means ingoing air. And Pachami Annam Chaturvidham. Pachami means digestion. So all four types of food are also digested by my energy. So Krishna is giving us energy to digest. And further Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Sarvasya chaham radisannivishto mata smriti granar apohanancha vedischa sarva aham eva vedyo vedanta krid vedavid eva chaham. So here Krishna is saying, I am situated in everybody's heart. Here you can see all the living entities' heart, Krishna is situated. Krishna is saying, I am situated in everyone's heart. From me comes the remembrance, the knowledge and forgetfulness. By all Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Veda and I am the knower of the Vedas. So if you study all the Vedas, everything, the ultimate is that Krishna is the source of everything. That is the ultimate summary of all the Vedas. And then further Krishna says, Yo mam evam asamuddho janati purushottamam sa sarvavida bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. So Krishna saying, whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everybody. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me. So here Krishna is saying that If we understand that Krishna is the source of everything, we are all part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is our eternal Father, and a father becomes happy when children are obedient, children are nice, well behaved, well mannered. Similarly, Krishna will become happy if we worship Him, we serve Him very nicely, and if we serve all the living entities. If we kill one living entity, if we are non-vegetarian, we kill all the chicken and goat and whatever the things people kill, then Krishna will not be happy. Further, Krishna says in the last sloka of 15th chapter, Krishna says, Iti guhyam tamam shastram idam uttam mahanaga. So he says, Krishna says, Iti guhyatam shastram idam uttam maya anagha. So this most confidential part of Vedic scripture, O sinless one, it is disclosed by me to you. Whoever understands this will become wise and endeavors with all the perfection. So with this, we end the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So I am open for any questions if you have. If not, then I have some quiz for all of you to understand and assimilate the knowledge. Let's go through the quiz first and then we'll take more questions. So let's go through this. I request all of you to type your answers. What is the purpose of Vedic study? To become humble, to understand Krishna, to develop love for everyone, or to gain the knowledge? A, B, C, D. We just did this shloka 2 minutes back. What is the purpose of Vedas? To become humble, to understand Krishna, to develop love for everyone, or to gain the knowledge? Vedeshcha sarva ahameva vedyo. So what is that? Premji is saying C, Motiji is saying D. Mileshji is on the right track. B, to understand Krishna. Chinmayji is saying correct. So our real answer is B. Yes. Aparnaji is saying B. That is correct answer. Very correct answer is B. And what is that? The shloka supporting that is here. Sarvasya chaham radhi sannivishto matha smriti gnana apohanancha vedescha sarva ahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedvid eva chaham. What is that? I am seated in everyone's heart. From me comes the remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. So what is that? The summary of all the Vedas is that Krishna is situated in everyone's heart. Everything is coming from Krishna. Krishna is the master of everything. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we all are servant of Krishna. So to know about Krishna is the purpose of Veda, ultimate purpose of Vedas. Let's take another question. What is the basic principle of devotional service? Detachment from material activities, attachment to service of Lord, both A and B, and D, none of this. Very simple. What is the principle of bhakti? Bhakti means detachment from material enjoyment and attachment to service to Krishna. Absolutely, everybody is correct. Thank you, Nilesh ji. Thank you, Chinmay ji. Thank you, Mosmi ji. Thank you, Moti ji, Aparna ji, Prem ji, Dharmendra ji. Thank you so much. Next question to you is, how does the root of this banyan tree grow? Upward, downward, both ways. Root of the banyan tree of this material world. What is the root of this banyan tree looking like? Upward or downward? I was explaining you in this picture. How does the banyan tree of material world look like? Very nice, Motiji. Right. Wonderful. Motiji understood it. Very nice, Dharmendraji. Thank you. Premji saying downward, but the banyan tree, the root is upward, and the original banyan tree has downward, but the root of this material world banyan tree is upward. Absolutely. Then the next question is, what is the effect of knowing the banyan tree? One comes to know about Vedas. One can get out of the material existence. Attachment to the tree leads to impossibility of liberation, and all of the above. Why should we know about this tree? Why should we get knowledge about the tree? Why did we talk about all this banyan tree from 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Uh, Motiji is saying B. Actually, Motiji is correct. Nilesh ji is saying D. Nilesh ji is also correct. Anybody wants to give any other answer? Why should we know about banyan tree? Chinmay ji is saying D. That is also correct. Because once we know about the Vedas, once we know about the existence of the banyan tree and we are trapped in this banyan tree, and so long as we are trapped in this banyan tree, we cannot get out of this material world. So we have to know how to cut the roots of this tree. And how do we cut the roots of the tree? Aparnaji has a question. Attachment to this tree leads to impossibility of liberation. So more we are attached to our dharma, artha, kama, and all the religiosity, or we are attached to so-called religiosity. It's not spiritual, it is all material. And so long we are attached to material sense enjoyment or any connection with the body, so long as we are connected to the body, we will not be able to get out of this material world. We have to understand that I'm not this body, I'm the spirit soul. This body is temporary, this body is an instrument, this body is my vehicle to serve Krishna. If I will be considering myself as a body, then I will be trapped in this body forever. But once I am detached from this body, then I can serve Krishna. Otherwise, if you're selfish, you cannot serve Krishna. That is the idea of this thing. Okay? And the next question, last question for today is, from where does this tree get its nourishment? From the lower part of the tree, from the three modes of material nature, for A and B, none of this. So we talked about nutrition to the tree. Who is nourishing the tree? Why we are getting nourished? Motiji is saying A. You may want to think over it, Motiji, a little bit more. We talked about the nourishment, and Premji asked this that can you please repeat the question number 2 Premji asked and shloka number 2, and I repeated that for all of you. Hmm. So you want to rethink over this question? Motiji is saying A, Nilesh is saying B. Actually, Nilesh is doing pretty good today. Wonderful, Nilesh. I'm really happy with your thing. So actually, the nourishment is from the modes of material nature and desire to enjoy. This is what is keeping us in this material world. So let me show you this tree again, so that all of you are with me here. Here's the tree. Oh, 1 second. I'm going to show you the tree. This is the second shloka. Guna pravradha. Guna pravradha, which means that three modes of material nature is the nourishing and Vishaya Pralaha, sense objects. These are sense objects and Vishaya, they keep us bound to the tree. So how do you get out of the tree? So here is it. Detachment. Oops, sorry. Asanga Shastrena Dradena Chitva. So with detachment, determination and surrender. So with the mood of detachment from this material sense enjoyment and weapon of detachment, we cut the roots of this tree. So what does detachment we talked about? Using everything for service of Krishna. That is called detachment. So with that, we end the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Now homework for you is that please prepare a short video on chapter number 15th of Bhagavad Gita. I request everybody, if you all can prepare, that will be really nice. And then we can spend some time in watching the video. My phone number is 0018072519700. Please send me a WhatsApp video, 1, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever you feel appropriate, whatever the WhatsApp can accommodate. Please read 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Please prepare a short video on the presentation on the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I will be really happy. When you make a video, please say your name clearly, that I am so and so. I am attending this Bhagavad Gita class, and I am summarizing the chapter number 15 of Bhagavad Gita as a homework part of this. And please send us, so then I will be really happy to see the video format. If you are not comfortable with the video, I can understand. I'm not going to force you. You can prepare an audio file and then send it me by WhatsApp. If you are not comfortable with audio file, then prepare a small PowerPoint presentation like that. But please do send me your input about 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Very interesting chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Please give me a feedback. I'm here for any questions. If you have any comments you have, please type it in the chat box. And I'm really thankful to everybody